Alright, good morning ladies and gentlemen. Today is August 5th, 2017, and welcome to another edition of Region 99. I have with me Miss Animatedlola.
Hi everyone!
And today we're going to be talking with her about a wide variety of things. I would like to give a special shout out to FYE in Clifton, New Jersey, home of the famous Fun Called Wall. Buy two, get one for 75% off, and they actually have great deals. Lola, so how are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous this morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you, thank you. So, to the cosplay community, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. I've been cosplaying since 2014 officially. My first NYCC was in 2013.
Really?
A group of fraternity brothers that I have were going as Batman villains on the Saturday.
Okay.
And they were like, hey, you should come with us. And I was like, that sounds cool. So I went on partycity.com and I looked up like a Harley Quinn outfit and I ordered it and I put it on and I had zero idea what I was walking into. And then I was there and it was like the sensory, it was just overwhelming. And I was like, what is going, yo, that's awesome. Oh, I know who that is. Wait, this is great. And I was like, wait, people do this every year. Where have I been? And after that, like, it just took one day. It took one day for me to be absolutely hooked. And literally within like the next week, I was already trying to figure out what I was gonna cosplay for NYCC 2014.
Nice.
And so I say 2014 is when I really started, because I feel like up until that point it was kind of just like Halloween before Halloween. And I didn't really understand what the cosplay community was. What it fully involved, and like the people that needed, you know, what it meant to the people that are in the community.
Oh wow.
So I think I started in 2014 and I've been doing it ever since. It's been amazing. I've used it in my muggle life. I am a lawyer, I'm an attorney, and so when I started cosplaying I was still in law school and I was working during the day and going to law school at night, and it was a lot of logical left brain reading, writing, trying to figure out, you know, law decisions and stuff. So cosplay has always been like an outlet for me to be able to express my right brain side, my creative side.
Okay.
And just to not have to like read dense law textbooks and all that kind of stuff, like just be able to paint and play with colors and like let my brain take like a backseat to like creative expression.
Nice. All right. What type of law do you practice?
I do defense work. I do corporate defense work.
Really?
Yeah, so I defend employers.
Like business employers?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, companies and stuff.
Oh, nice, nice. Can you give us an example, or no, that's secret?
It gets very like technical, and I also like try to keep my muggle world and my cosplay world separate.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I do practice in New York and in New Jersey.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna need a card after this.
I got you.
All right, so growing up,
yes.
You mentioned that you were introduced to this around 2015. Were you always fascinated growing up with comic books and video games?
Funny enough, actually, I'm the oldest of 5 girls.
Okay, really?
And
wow.
I was a huge tomboy growing up. But even with that, it was like, I was a tomboy, and while like, you know, most girls my age were playing with like Barbies and all that kind of stuff, I was playing with like the Legos and the G.I. Joes and on like my BMX, and very into sports. But one of the things that I really appreciate about cosplay is that not only does it take me back to those days where like I feel like I'm able to be myself, in that I grew up being very connected to people that were into like sci-fi and computers and electronics and science type stuff, and that wasn't necessarily very welcoming or open for girls when I was a young person. But even now, like when I think back to like the video games and the Saturday morning cartoons and stuff we used to watch, they were very male dominated.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate about cosplay, or what I try to do with my cosplay, is I try to celebrate and accentuate my femininity. So I do that either in a gender bend cosplay of a normally, you know, male representing character, or luckily I've seen an influx of a lot of strong female characters, whether they're lead characters or supporting roles, and I've been able to express myself through, you know, cosplaying those characters as well.
So what was how did you like Wonder Woman? What was your take on it?
So I am a Marvel fan first and foremost. You know, kill me, love me, it's fine. I appreciate DC. I do love DC's villains. Especially like I mentioned, like, you know, growing up, like the villains were the females that I could kind of like relate to. So I do find that DC has better villains, but I was really excited for Wonder Woman, although I was a little cautious about Gal Gadot as the lead playing her, because I just always thought of Wonder Woman as being a very dominant, you know, Amazonian. I wanted someone that would be representative of maybe a little bit of a thicker body frame and that kind of stuff. You know, I felt like there might have been a little Hollywood whitewashing in who they cast. But I went in there with open eyes, open mind, like, let me just see what happens, and it completely took me back. I actually, for those of you that follow on Instagram, you might have seen I did a live IG story as soon as I came out with like tears streaming down my face, because I wasn't expecting that at all. And I think for me, the biggest kind of like surprise that I had was during the first battle scene. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. But during the first battle scene that they had at the Mascara, for me, it like took me back, and I actually started to cry, because I realized that in all the other movies that I had watched and I had seen, there were like one person, you know, like Wonder Woman, that first battle scene,
it was just
and you see
females,
all these females, different sizes, different skin colors, different ethnicities, different abilities, and everyone was so badass, and it just completely like overwhelmed me with emotion. And I realized this is the first time that I've been able to look and like feel like I'm such a badass, because I'm seeing multiple women just breaking it down, and like their choreography for that battle scene, and some of the like crazy moves that they were doing, throwing arrows backwards and upside down and stuff. Like I was like, yo, this is so like inspiring. Like I feel like I can go out and conquer the world, and I've never felt that.
From a movie?
From a movie to that intensity. Like, yeah, I'll see like, you know, superhero movies and they're enjoyable, and I'm like, yeah, you know, this is my fandom, but I've never felt so internally inspired to just go out and like wreck and like just do some crazy badass type stuff the way I did from Wonder Woman. So I told everyone, take your mom, take your daughter, take your aunt, take your sister, take your girlfriend, take your next door neighbor. Like, women need to see this movie, even if you're not a fan of superhero movies or action movies or whatever. I just found it to be immensely inspiring.
What is it like being a Latina in the comic book Comic-Con industry? Or, you know, like, have you noticed is there an influx of...
Well, we got a win.
Okay.
We got a win last year. Our win last year was when they announced that they were going to give America Chavez her own comic series, because she was, you know, initially introduced as one of the Young Avengers.
Okay.
And they, you know, I liked the Young Avengers storyline in that they really like infused it with diversity. You know, they took all the Avengers that we know and like fixed everything up. So we went from Captain America, the all around, you know, blonde, blue eyes soldier, and now we got America Chavez, who is the Captain America for the Young Avengers, but she is a Latina who has 2 mothers. So she comes from an LGBT background, she comes from a diversity background as far as being a minority and being a female. However, my understanding, and please don't hate me because I know a lot of people know that I'm an America Chavez cosplayer.
Okay.
I have been collecting the comics because I really love the cover art that they've presented for each of them, but I have not had a chance to read them, and that is just because work has been outrageously crazy. But I have gotten some feedback from some of my fans, as well as just other people that I know that are very much into comics and they keep up with them. And my understanding is that the writing for her solo series has not been up to par, and it's really not doing her justice. As regards to being a female fan and a Latina fan and a female Latina cosplayer, it's been difficult. You know, I think that there definitely are, I mean, we have like Miles Morales in the Spider-Man series. There definitely are bringing up a lot of, I think they're introducing some, you know, some good characters and stuff. But I feel like we're just now really starting to get great diversity for African Americans. And I feel like, unfortunately, it's not going to be until we get really good diversity and representation and they get good feedback from African Americans before it'll trickle down to Asian Americans and Latino Americans and, you know, Indian Americans, and not as in like Native American, but as in Middle Eastern and, you know, that kind of stuff. A big issue that I had was when Pokemon Go came out and they announced the gym leaders. And I was team, wow, I just lost my train of thought. It's the red team. What's the red team? It starts with a V. I can't
Victory,
think.
Viceroy?
Valor.
Valor.
Ha! I was team Valor right from the get because it's fire. I love fire. It's like one of my elements. But I was even more excited when they announced that Team Valor's gym leader was a dark-skinned female named Canela. Canela in Spanish is fire or flame or like incendiary. So immediately my assumption was she was Latina. But because she was dark skinned, there was this whole push that like there were a lot of suggestions for black cosplayers to play her, and you know like there were a whole like support under the African American community. And while I didn't necessarily, I wasn't opposed to that, I felt like I was a little slighted about the fact that we just kind of glossed over the fact that she could be dark-skinned Latina.
Got it.
You know, and I think, yeah, that sucks then, because then you have two Caucasian gym leaders and a Latina, and there's no African American representation. But
so she represents skin tone, she represented black, but in name she represented Spanish.
Exactly.
So it felt like the creators of the game were like, okay, let's put two in one, as opposed to understand.
And I think that, you know, a lot of people just go based off of what they see without going further into it.
Kind of like Miles Morales.
Exactly. So seeing that he's dark skinned, or seeing that she was dark skinned, it was like automatic, like, oh, like we have someone representing African Americans. I was like, well, I think she's meant to represent Latinos and Latinas, and I don't necessarily think that it has to be like we can't both be represented at the same time. But I think that
separate individuality as opposed to a collective.
I think that we're definitely as a representative of like Latino culture, we're definitely still striving. I think diversity in general, it has leaps and bounds to make to where we're all on an equal playing field.
That is true.
But I definitely think that because it's just been pushed harder and more upfront with regards to African American diversity in this particular community, that we can sometimes get left behind, or like we're subsequent, because they're not really going to push out to all the other subsets until like they see what their response is from a more major, more visible group, which would be the African American, the blurs, you know.
So African Americans have the blurs.
We have nothing.
Really?
I tried. I've thought about it. I've looked into it.
Like blurs?
Yeah.
Or
no. Yeah. I don't.
If there is, hold on, ladies and gentlemen, if there is a Latino nerd group, can you please email Region 99 so we can highlight and post? I don't know.
Yeah, and I would love, like, by all means, I am a representative of a page on Instagram that's called Cosplay of Color. And we try to represent, you know, all the different, you know, diversities and ethnicities that are normally not, that are underrepresented. And so, by all means, please let us know, because September's right around the corner, and as a Latina cosplayer within that particular group, I am pushing for the month of September, which is our Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes.
We're going to be highlighting a lot of cosplayers that are of Hispanic ethnicity or descent, Latino ethnicity or descent. And so if there's a tagline or hashtag that we should be using I'm not aware of, by all means, please let me know.
Yes, seriously, please let us know. This show is meant for all diversities, creativity through diversity.
Exactly.
You're amazing. Just figured I'd let you know that. Amazing, amazing. Great representation.
You're amazing for having me.
I appreciate it. Now, do you have any advice for young females who are interested in thinking about cosplay?
Yeah, absolutely. Ask questions. Ask a million. I still ask questions. Let me first off and say that, like, this outfit is from asking questions. This was commissioned. I did not make this. I would never even attempt to try to take credit for making this. This was from a very good friend, an extremely talented cosplayer who goes by Becca Noel. She does these commissions. But even in having her commission this, I didn't just pay for it and then say thanks. I asked, well, what did you use to make this? How did you do this? Well, what made you decide to put felt on the inside of this? Asking those questions allow you to then make that process, think it out for yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, which is a hard one. I have to take my own advice because I'm a perfectionist, and sometimes perfection can get in the way of greatness. Like, something can be great without it being perfect.
Of course.
If you're entering into cosplay and you're in a particular stage in your life where you're still trying to find yourself, be weary. And I say that just because, as in any other fandom or community or whatever it is, like, you're going to get influences from all different types of people. You're going to meet different types of people from different walks of life, and not everyone's necessarily going to agree with your viewpoints, agree with how you might conduct yourself, how you might decide to go with a particular costume. And I really think that you have to have a solid sense of self, a solid sense of confidence, and a good foundation. Have friends that you trust, that you can go to for advice about questions and concerns that you have when it comes to, a lot of cosplay has to do with your expressions and self-expression and your, like, representation. And so if you're not sure if something is too much, not enough, whatever, have those friends that you trust and are, like, are going to give you advice because they genuinely care about who you are. Because if you go out and you start to ask people that you're just meeting in the cosplay community, you might get feedback that was either unwarranted or not constructive. It can sometimes be volatile. There can be people that, might not necessarily like the sexualization of a particular character, and they're going to give you a hard time for that. But if that's what you wanted to do, do it. Like, the whole idea of this is to be whoever it is that you want to be, and be maybe someone that you weren't necessarily born as, and you get to do something different. Like, this is what it is. It's for you to explore and for you to express. So I would just say, have a solid sense of who you are, what your beliefs, what your morals, what, where your compass is. Don't succumb to the pressure to have to do something you're not comfortable with. Also, don't succumb to the pressure of feeling ashamed or bad for wanting to do something that people don't agree with, outside of, like, racist type things, because, it's common sense. But, I really just, I want people to just be confident in who they are, and remember that at the end of the day, this was meant to be fun. It's meant to be enjoyable. If it gets to the point where the cons start to outweigh the pros, it's not worth it anymore. There's money, there's time, there is emotional cost, there is mental, physical cost to it. So, like, if your pros don't outweigh your cons, you might need to step back and reevaluate what you're doing and what you're doing it for.
Ladies and gentlemen, Animatedlola, let's give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, everyone, so much. You guys can follow me on Instagram. It's literally @AnimatedLola. I'm on Twitter @AnimatedLola. I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/AnimatedLola. I kept it shared across the board. And I just got a Connect to connect to my Xbox One S.
Okay.
So I have Twitched in the past, but there was no camera, which was kind of like, I mean, I guess I'm very funny vocally, but if you're missing a facial expressions, you're missing definitely 75% of the entertainment value of it. So I will be Twitching soon, and that will also be twitch.tv/AnimatedLola.
If you have any questions for Animatedlola, just stay tuned for the credits. We'll also highlight all our Instagram and all the social media sites. Once again, this has been another edition of Region 99. Talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Also,